Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time for another video on the FIFA soundtracks. Now last year I did one looking at my favourite song from every FIFA soundtrack back to FIFA 99, which you can check out in the description if you haven't watched it already. But today I'm looking at something a little bit different from that. The FIFA soundtracks can often make or break a game in some people's eyes, but year after year, EA finds space for some absolute gems, be it Dreaming by Small Pools, Helicopter by Block Party, or Shelter by Porter Robinson and Medeon, to give just 3 out of hundreds of examples. However, there are some songs that experience vast levels of success after an appearance on a FIFA game, irrespective of how much it was actually due to the song in question featuring on a particular soundtrack, and for this video I'm picking out 10 such cases for your viewing pleasure. The only criterion is that the song in question has to have a surge in popularity after being licensed for a FIFA game as opposed to solely before. So, as one example, Monster by The Automatic, which was on FIFA 08, had already been extremely popular beforehand and didn't really exceed those levels of fame after being a part of the soundtrack, so it doesn't feature in this list. The songs are ordered chronologically from least to most recent as opposed to how popular they became, because popularity is quite a difficult metric to measure. And of course, if you're going to enjoy this video, slap a like on it, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video whenever I upload it. And without any further ado, here are 10 songs that blew up after being included on the FIFA soundtrack. Number 1. It's Only Us by Robbie Williams from FIFA 2000. We kick off this video with, arguably, the biggest name to have ever featured on a FIFA soundtrack. Robbie Williams was undoubtedly one of the most talked about singers, certainly in the UK at the very least, during the late 1990s, with his high profile split from Take That, his drug addiction and lavish lifestyle leading to paparazzi tracking his every move. This only added to his hype as he churned out hit after hit upon starting his solo career, including Angels, Let Me Entertain You and Millennium, and in 1999 EA asked him to write the theme song for FIFA 2000. Quite famously, Williams agreed to it on the sole condition that EA included his beloved Port Vale, then in the second division, in the game. Keep in mind this was a few years before the lower leagues of English football would be licensed in full on FIFA, and EA obliged, putting Vale in the rest of the world section. The rock anthem was released a couple of weeks after FIFA 2000 came out as a double A-side with his cover of She's the One, and it immediately went to number 1 in the UK, making it, as far as I'm aware at the very least, one of just 5 songs ever featured on FIFA to do that, alongside the jams A Town Called Malice, Lila by Oasis, Duffy's Mercy, and Love Me Again by John Newman. Number 2. Jerk It Out by Caesars from FIFA 2004. This is an interesting one, since Jerk It Out by Caesars was actually released a long time before it was put onto a FIFA soundtrack, and its popularity rose long after FIFA 2004, the game in which it featured, had been replaced by FIFA 2005. The song originally came out in 2002, when the group were known as Caesar's Palace, on their third studio album Love for the Streets, and it was a minor hit in their homeland of Sweden, reaching number 32, although it didn't make any impact elsewhere. It was nonetheless included on FIFA 2004, immediately becoming a fan's favourite, but upon its re-release as a single in April 2005, after it had featured as the soundtrack to an iPod Shuffle commercial, it hit number 8 in the UK and even managed to chart in the US as well, peaking at number 70. Most memorable for its distorted organ riff, which is prevalent throughout most of the song, Jerk It Out went on to be in a multitude of other video games, including Just Dance, Rock Band, and Samba de Amigo, as well as ads for Coca-Cola and Renault, and film trailers for Night and Day and the 2006 version of The Pink Panther, although it proved to be the group's only hit outside of Sweden. But what a hit it was. Number 3. Más Que Nada by Sérgio Mendes featuring the Black Eyed Peas from the 2006 FIFA World Cup game. A samba track which was written by prominent Brazilian songwriter Jorge Ben in 1963, Más Que Nada was originally covered by Latin pianist Sérgio Mendes, one of Brazil's first exports to the USA, with his band Brazil 66 in, coincidentally enough, 1966, and it charted in the Billboard Hot 100 at number 47. Some 37 years on from that, in 2003, the Black Eyed Peas' lead producer will.i.am, a self-professed Mendes fan, came up with the idea of collaborating with the Brazilian, and a couple of years later, it blossomed into what will.i.am described as a quote, hip-hop celebratory version of Más Que Nada, close quotes, which features new verses from every member of the group, and the first verse of the original song sung by Mendes' wife, Gracinha Leporase. However, many people may have first heard the song on the 2006 World Cup game, with its official release as a single coming some 2 months after the game was globally released, and for some, including me, it became the signature song for the actual tournament. It went on to become a hit all across Europe, charting in the top 10 in 10 countries including the UK and the Netherlands, where it reached number 1, and it would prove to be the Black Eyed Peas' last single before their 2-year hiatus and then returned in 2009 with Boom Boom Pow. Number 4. Gone Up in Flames by Morning Runner from FIFA 07. Probably the least famous song on this list, I decided to include Gone Up in Flames by Morning Runner for one specific reason, which we'll get onto in a little bit. A single which came out back in August 2005, the lead singer of Morning Runner, Matthew Greener, described it as, quote, pictures of desperation, with 3 different narratives about 3 people all suffering in some way, as one loses their money on gambling, another is obsessed with fancy items so sells everything they own in order to get them, and the last loses someone close to them, hence everything going up in flames. It didn't actually do that well commercially, only hitting number 39 in the UK, but in 2008, 2 years after being licensed for FIFA 07, an instrumental version became the opening theme for the hit show The In-Betweeners for each of its 3 seasons, as well as being used in each of the show's 2 films during the closing credits. Sadly, the band had split up by the time The In-Betweeners debuted, owing to pressure from their record label, Parlophone, to put out a hit record owing to the relative commercial failure of what would prove to be their only album, Wilderness is Paradise Now, but they left behind an iconic song which is firmly ingrained in the minds of FIFA players and British people of a certain age. Number 5. Goodbye Mr. A by the Hoosiers from FIFA 08. The period between 2007 and 2008 was most definitely the peak for UK band The Hoosiers, as after the success of their debut single Worried About Ray, they followed it up with the smash hit Goodbye Mr. A, which was written when lead singer Owen Sparks heard about the death of his former English teacher, who was nicknamed Mr. A, in 2006. When the song was released, 2 weeks after FIFA 08 came out, on which it was included, it managed to hit number 4 in the UK in its second week and spent 17 weeks overall within the UK top 40. The superhero-inspired music video for the pop rock song actually features Sparks playing a match on the PlayStation 3 version of FIFA 08 as Reading, the team he supports, against Manchester United, and he scores a goal, although considering the screen is quite blurred at that point, I couldn't quite figure out who was the goal scorer. Goodbye Mr. A would prove to be the band's highest charting single, as none of their other ones have quite managed to replicate its catchy and anthemic appeal, although in 2008, interestingly, they were voted as the worst band at the NME Awards. Bit harsh in my opinion, but there you go. Number 6. Waving Flag, the Coca-Cola Celebration remix by Kanan from the 2010 World Cup game. Some people associate the 2010 World Cup with the Vuvuzela, others may bring up England's dismal performances, but for many, what has stuck the most is Kanan's iconic song, Waving Flag, and with good reason. The original version was a hit in Canada and talked mostly about the struggles many people in Africa face growing up and fighting through them, but when Coca-Cola used it as their anthem for the World Cup, with many of the lyrics changed to give a more football-oriented feel, but still keeping the song's original messages of hope and perseverance, it blew up. It topped charts in Germany, Switzerland and Austria and hit number 2 in the UK, Italy and Ireland, and many regional remixes were also released, including ones from France, Brazil and even Thailand, as well as one for global release with the addition of Will I Am, David Guetta and Afrojack. The Coca-Cola Celebration mix became the flagship song for the World Cup alongside Waka Waka, this time for Africa, by Shakira, and it was included on the 2010 World Cup game that EA made, which was released on the same day that the song came out worldwide, meaning that it just about qualifies to feature on this list. Number 7. On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons from FIFA 13. American group Imagine Dragons are a polarising band to say the least, especially with what they've put out over the last 5 years or so, but back in the early 2010s, they were on the verge of breaking through into the mainstream and were receiving positive reviews, or certainly positive reviews by their current standards, from critics. Their EP Continued Silence was released in February 2012, and amongst Diamond certified hits like Radioactive and Demons was On Top of the World, an inspirational celebration of them finally making it to the big time. Backed up by an anthemic chorus and motivational lyrics about never giving in, it seemed a perfect choice for a FIFA game, and EA agreed, licensing it for FIFA 13. In a statement on their website announcing the song's presence on the game, the band said, "As longtime FIFA fans, it's going to be a lot of fun hearing the track while we are doing bicycle kicks and screaming at the screen. They definitely have the mentality of a FIFA player at the very least, so at least they've got that going for them. Although it would prove to be the least successful official single release from the EP, it still broke into the UK Top 40 and the Billboard Hot 100, as well as charting in 24 other countries worldwide between 2013 and 2014, and accumulating nearly 600 million streams on Spotify as of the time of this recording. It went on to be used as the soundtrack to Coca-Cola and Ford adverts and the NBA coverage on ESPN in 2013 and 2014. And the PS22 chorus sang the song at Barack Obama's second inauguration ceremony in January 2013, which probably makes the song quite a big deal. Number 8. Walk by Quabs from FIFA 15. Many people describe the era between FIFA 14 and FIFA 16 as the golden era of the FIFA soundtrack, and one of the standout songs from that period was the electronic-infused soul anthem Walk by Ghana-born and England-raised singer Quabs, which was included as a part of FIFA 15. It was put onto SoundCloud on the 9th of August 2014, with the music video being published the next month, although the release to other digital and streaming services wouldn't arrive until the 26th of September, the very day that FIFA 15 came out. Described by Quabs himself as being about moving forward and keeping faith irrespective of what adversity may come your way, the song only actually made it to number 71 in the UK, but it was a hit all across Europe, most notably reaching the number 1 spot in Germany and cracking the top 10 in 12 other European charts. Walk would also later be remixed to add a verse from American rapper Fetty Wap, most famous for his 2015 hit Track Queen, as well as being used by the BBC in promotional videos for their coverage of the 2015 general election, and it may well have never hit the same heights that it did without it being featured on the FIFA 15 soundtrack. Number 9. The Night by Avicii from FIFA 15. Avicii, my second favourite musician of all time, made his only appearance on FIFA with The Night, an inspirational song about making the most of the opportunities that life will give to you, a message which seems even more pertinent given his suicide at the age of just 28 3 years ago. The song, like many of his prior hits, combined elements of folk rock, electronica and house to perfection to create one of his most iconic tracks, and as I'm sure you'll be aware, he isn't exactly short of iconic songs. It was released globally in December 2014 and in the UK in January 2015, meaning that its inclusion on FIFA 15 predated its actual release by a couple of months or so, but it immediately became a hit, which, given that this was during Avicii's peak years, is hardly surprising. It reached the top 20 in 19 different countries, including the UK, where it peaked at number 6 and became the 30th biggest selling song of 2015, and it currently has just over 900 million streams on Spotify. It was also used as the Carolina Hurricanes' ice hockey team's goal song for 4 years, from 2015 until 2018, which does make sense realistically, given the song's inherently euphoric sound and message. Number 10. Heatwaves by Glass Animals from FIFA 21. Even though this is done chronologically, as I said at the start, I think I might have saved the best example of a song blowing up after appearing on FIFA until last. The Oxfordshire-based indie electronic pop band Glass Animals have been a regular feature on EA's showpiece game in recent times, with youth from their second studio album How to Be a Human being present on FIFA 17, and their latest single, I Don't Want to Talk, I Just Want to Dance, featuring on FIFA 22, although the latter song has 16.3 million streams on Spotify, just over half of what Heatwaves earned in the last week alone. When Heatwaves, from the group's album Dreamland, was put onto FIFA 21, many people heralded it as the best song on the game almost straight away, but it was primarily through its use as background music in TikTok videos that led to its popularity surging through the roof. Originally released back in June 2020, the dreamy pop song, which lead singer Dave Bailey describes as being about loss and longing and ultimately realising you are unable to save something, was a sleeper hit, reaching number 1 in Australia in March 2021 and staying there for 6 weeks. It also managed to hit number 5 in the UK, and on the very day I'm recording this, it broke the record for the song with the most weeks spent on the Billboard Hot 100 before it hit the top 10, with 42 weeks to its name, as it has just hit number 10 in the latest count. I think it's safe to say that Glass Animals' Heatwaves is probably the best example of a song blowing up after being included on FIFA, although how much it was down to its presence on FIFA is up for debate. And that just about wraps up today's video, looking at 10 songs whose popularity surged after being included on a FIFA soundtrack. If you enjoyed this video, as I said at the start, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and ring the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a video straight away. If you want to check out my previous FIFA soundtrack video, there's a link in the description to go and watch it, and there may be another one somewhere down the line at some point. Perhaps it's my last video of this year, but you'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for watching this one though, and until next time, I'll see you then.